Assalamwalykum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, my friends. Inshallah, today we will be talking about the story of Abu Qudamah. So, Abu Qudamah was basically a scholar. He used to lead battles and fight the people who used to oppress the Muslims when Islam was actually being introduced to the people. And when they would declare their faith, when they would say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, their women would get raped, their men would get killed. So, this particular incident happened in Iraq. Abu Qudamah, he was going on one of his such battles, and he announced in one of the masjids after the Isha prayer that we fight for so and so cause. So if there is anybody who's willing to participate in it, or if there is anybody who can do anything wealth-wise, can contribute anything, it would be very much appreciated. He said this and he went back to his room, and he was actually almost asleep when he heard a knock on the door. And when he opens the door, to his astonishment, he finds a lady who is dressed head to toe in niqab, and who just hands over a piece of cloth to his hand and runs away back. So he opens this piece of cloth and he finds actually a kind of a rope made up of a lady's hair, and there was a letter in that as well which said that you announced that you wanted help for this cause. And I went back home and I tried to search for things to give it to you so that would be helpful to you, but I couldn't find anything. So I cut this lock of hair and I made a rope out of it so that you can use it in your battle, and so that's how I could contribute. The next day, when people were preparing to go to the war, there was this boy named Muhammad, her son, who comes running to Abu Qudamah and he says, wait for me Abu Qudamah, wait for me Abu Qudamah. And so Abu Qudamah stops and he gets into a conversation with this boy, and he says that my mother sent me, she came to you last night and she sent me to go on a war with you, and I really want to participate in it. And he was very much enthusiastic, and he was very much looking forward to contribute to the cause of Allah. So Abu Qudamah couldn't resist him, because he kept on insisting. Abu Qudamah did say that you're a little boy, you should go and look after your parents, but to which he said that I have done the memorization of the Quran, which proves that I'm not a little boy anymore and I'm a grown up, and so that I can fight for the cause of Allah. So Abu Qudamah takes him and he says that, okay, fine, I'm taking you with me, but you will be in the very back of the soldiers, and your main work will be cooking for the people. So the whole caravan goes. Then the next day, the day of the battle came, and the enemy were coming to attack, and the Muslims were also prepared. And Abu Qudamah saw that this boy Muhammad hung all the way to the forward, and he was the first one amongst to attack the Zalimun, the oppressors, obviously. And then amongst the dust and everything of the battle, Abu Qudamah lost sight of Muhammad. And then when the battle was over, alhamdulillah, the Muslims won. And then when Abu Qudamah started looking for this little boy Muhammad, he couldn't find him. And then he heard a little voice from the background which says, Abu Qudamah, oh the people, find me Abu Qudamah, bring him to me. So Abu Qudamah goes to this boy, and then his face is literally covered with blood and dust, and he's cut into pieces. And really it was difficult to recognize that this boy was Muhammad. So Muhammad says that I won't be able to make it. My mother will not be believing that I have finally become Shaheed and I've gone to my father, because Muhammad's father he also gave up his life for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said that take this piece of cloth to my mother, and then she will be relieved. She will finally believe that I have given up my life for the sake of Allah. And he also says to Abu Qudamah that I have a little sister of 8 years old to whom I had promised that I'll be coming back. But when you see her, please console her and say 2 words to make her feel better. So when Abu Qudamah and his people, the people who gained the victory, when they went back home, people were actually looking forward to seeing their loved ones and welcoming them. And when Abu Qudamah saw the mother of Muhammad looking for him, he came to her and he said to her that you wanted to give a gift to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has accepted that gift. But the mother of Muhammad, Muhammad, she didn't believe it, and she was like, no, where is my son, where is my son? So then Abu Qudamah pulled that piece of shirt and he gave it to the mother of Muhammad, and he said that Muhammad had asked me to give it to you so that you would finally believe that he has gone to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the mother recognizes the piece of cloth, and finally she says Alhamdulillah. She hears that her son has passed away, and she says Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has accepted my gift. And then Abu Qudamah sees this little girl literally running to every other person she could find and asking, where is my brother, where is my brother, literally turning heads and seeing if this is my brother. So Abu Qudamah goes to this little girl and she says that, your brother has said his salam to you. And this little girl, she says that, where is my brother? Why has he asked you to say salam to me? So Abu Qudamah says that your brother has gone to Jannah, he is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this little girl, she asked Abu Qudamah that, has my brother passed away? And Abu Qudamah says that yes, but he will fulfill his promise in Jannah, he will meet you in Jannah. The bond of a brother and a sister, she was literally looking out for her brother and she couldn't find him. And so immediately, as soon as she learned that her brother is no more, she literally fainted. And Abu Qudamah wanted to help her, but the mother came in between and she took her daughter inside the house. And Abu Qudamah followed her inside. He followed till the door step, and then he could hear the mother of Muhammad saying, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. I lost my husband for the cause of Allah. I lost my son for the cause of Allah, and now I lost my daughter too. Inshallah, Ya Allah, give me a place in Jannah with all these three people. And saying this, the mother started crying. And she kept on crying, and Abu Qudamah kept knocking on the door, but the mother wouldn't open the door. And then finally her cry slowly faded away, and Abu Qudamah stood on the door for a very long time, but knocks were not answered. He came back to Medina, and then years passed by, and then there were a couple of people who were asking Abu Qudamah to narrate a story that would actually increase their iman, and this was the story that he narrated, and he doesn't know what happened with the mother after that. So the main purpose for me to narrate this entire story was for us to reflect upon that, what are we doing to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A mother was ready to give up her husband, her son, her daughter for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A son was ready to give up his life for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are we doing? Where are we standing? I'm talking about jihad. Jihad is not only going into battlefields and fighting for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jihad is you trying to waking up for Fajr, you fighting with your nafs, you fighting with your own selves, you fighting with your desires. It's jihad. Are we even doing that bare minimum of jihad in our lives? This is a thing for us to reflect upon and see that if we truly want to become waliullah, what are our efforts? What are we doing to become that? Reflect upon it, and inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those people who in Jannah are with these people, with Muhammad, with Muhammad, and with the sister of Muhammad, inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it for today. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.